One of the most common questions new shrimp keepers ask is, how often should I feed my shrimp? And the honest answer is, usually less often than you think. Shrimp are not meal-based eaters. They're constant grazers. In a healthy established aquarium, shrimp spend most of their day feeding on biofilm, algae, detritus, and microscopic organisms growing on surfaces. Supplemental food is meant to support that grazing, not replace it. Because of this, shrimp do not need to be fed every day to stay healthy. In fact, feeding too frequently is far more dangerous than feeding too little. It's almost always better to slightly underfeed than to overfeed. Shrimp have fast, simple digestive systems, and excess food quickly turns into waste. Uneaten food breaks down into ammonia and nitrite, which are both extremely toxic to shrimp, even at very low levels. Many feeding-related shrimp losses are actually water quality issues in disguise. In mature tanks with visible grazing activity, most shrimp colonies do very well with feeding 2 to 4 times per week, depending on colony size, tank age, and how much natural food is available. Personally, I feed my aquariums every other day and rotate through different foods to provide variety without excess. Breeding setups or tanks with very large colonies may require slightly more frequent feeding, but still in very small amounts. Fasting is not only safe for shrimp, it's healthy. Skipping a day or two of feeding allows shrimp to rely more heavily on natural food sources, reduces waste buildup, and helps stabilize water parameters. During fasting periods, shrimp don't stop eating. They simply return to grazing more heavily on biofilm and algae. This closely mirrors how shrimp feed in the wild. Molting is where nutrition really matters, and minerals are the part most people overlook. Shrimp need a steady supply of minerals, especially calcium, to rebuild a strong exoskeleton after every molt. Food contributes to this, but it's not the only source. One of the simplest ways to support mineral balance is to leave molts in the tank. For grazing shrimp and snails, a shed shell isn't waste. It's a recyclable mineral source that will often be picked and reused over time. Filter feeding shrimp like bamboo and vampire shrimp are an exception here. They generally do not consume their own molts. However, if they share the tank with other shrimp species or snails, those tank mates will often consume the molt instead. You can also provide passive mineral sources that dissolve slowly in the background, such as cuttlebone, mineral stones, or shrimp mineral blocks. These aren't feeding events, they're long-term support systems. The goal isn't to add more minerals, but to keep them consistently available. When mineral levels are stable, molts are smoother, shrimp stay more active, and breeding tends to be more reliable. Another important factor is tank maturity. Newly set up aquariums produce very little natural food, which means shrimp rely more heavily on supplemental feeding. As the tank matures, biofilm and algae increase, and feeding frequency should decrease accordingly. Many keepers never adjust their feeding habits as tanks age, which leads to slow nutrient buildup over time. It's also worth noting that shrimp can comfortably go several days without added food in established systems. This is why heavy pre-feeding before short vacations is often unnecessary and can do more harm than good. In most cases, a healthier shrimp tank is better left alone than over-prepared. What matters most here is observation. Healthy shrimp should be active, grazing throughout the tank, and responsive to food when it's offered, but not frantic. Feeding frequency isn't about following a strict schedule. It's about responding to what the tank is already providing. When you let the aquarium ecosystem do most of the work and use food as support rather than a crutch, shrimp thrive with less effort and fewer problems.